So Florida Congressman Michael Waltz, former Green Beret commander who serves on the House Armed Services Foreign Affairs Committee and the Intelligence Committee as well. So let me ask you about Joe Biden, the president, inviting Zelensky, hoping that he will be able to convince Congress to do something. At what point do you think, and I know maybe he can't do this publicly, but Zelensky has to be frustrated with President Biden because of the slow walking of the aid initially that has led us to this moment?
Yeah, Dana, I think he's enormously frustrated. Biden has essentially slow-walked us, backpedaled us, incrementally provided just enough to keep Zelensky from losing, but not enough to help him win. And I could spend the rest of the hour talking about the tanks, the long-range munitions, the aircraft, you name it, that would have us in a very different place. But now we're in a stalemate because Biden, again, has incrementally provided just enough, but not enough to win. And how can we in good conscience go home to our constituents, tell them they need to dig deeper in their pockets for tens of billions of dollars more when we have no strategy? We're stuck in a stalemate that is going to take, we don't even know how long and how much money, and our own border is out of control. So I hope President Biden can explain that to Zelensky, because he hasn't explained it to us.
Right. Let me just show a couple of statistics that you know well, but for our audience at home. So call for one. This is U.S. aid to Ukraine versus others. So the financial aid is really most of it is coming from the EU, but the military aid indeed as well. But if you look at call for number 2, global aid to Ukraine, the United States is, right up there, but Ukraine is getting a lot of it compared to other countries. So a question for you. President Biden's team is the one that put in the funding request some border money, right? The Biden administration opened the door to allowing this conversation to be had about the border. We just showed the audience, I don't know if you had a chance to see it, the drone shot from Eagle Pass. This is not necessarily new, but it is still shocking. You have Lukeville, Arizona, the same type of thing. So Americans are seeing these images all across the board. The Biden administration's in terrible straits when it comes to polling on immigration. They have an opportunity here to help Zelensky as well as to help themselves. And what do you think will happen when they finally put some pen to paper to get a deal done?
Yeah, the outlines of the deal are there, Dana. That's what's so frustrating. And I bet a lot of Senate Democrats who are up for election are quietly wishing we would get our border under control because of the bad polling numbers, right? But look, I mean, here's what's so frustrating is Biden's own FBI director is banging the drums. I mean, some people want to say we've introduced politics into this, but this is about national security, and his own FBI director is saying over 300 people that are on the terrorist watch list are running around America's city that the FBI is trying to track down. So this is clearly a national security issue. We have to secure our own border first. Politically, it would actually be to the benefit of the Democrats. And yet, at the same time, I would like to invite Zelensky, Blinken, Biden to one of our town halls to our teachers and talk to our first responders and explain to them how we're sending billions of dollars to pay Ukrainian first responders. So look, I think you take care of our border, you strip out all the humanitarian stuff, the Europeans can do that, you provide just the munitions that we need to backfill our military and help Ukraine stop Putin, and you have the outlines of a deal. And then finally, we have to have a strategy, and this really matters. Speaker Johnson just had our ambassador to Ukraine tell him that the ultimate end state is the 1991 borders, which would mean taking all of Crimea. I don't think that's realistic.
Right.
I don't know that anyone does. And so their strategy is all over the place, and either they can't articulate one or have made a deliberate decision not to. But without a strategy, we're not going to vote for another dollar.
Okay, Congressman, just very quickly, based on your experience and what you know based on the committees you're on, do you think that Zelensky and Ukraine can still prevail, even if it's not 1991? Can they push Putin back? Do you believe that's still possible?
I do not, from what I've seen, believe it is possible to take every inch of Ukrainian territory back. I'll just be candid. Nor, I think we had a hard conversation, do I know that it is in the U.S. national interest. I know what President Zelensky wants and should want. Does he have the capability to do so? I think that's very lacking. And then two, is it in our national interest, or is it in our national interest to stop Putin where he is and make sure Ukraine is viable going forward? Those are different conversations, and that's why we need to hear from the president and his team, not just an ally and the head of state.
You're a great guest to have on this today. Thank you.